Welcome to HIM 164, your PPE orientation. I wanted to go over a few things to help this be a little more of a smooth transition for you. Of course, you found this in the PPE Guide and Documents folder underneath the course content for this course, where you'll see other things that you're going to be responsible for as well for your PPE assignment. So with this particular 40 hours you're going to be spending on site, you will be in a variety of environments, or you'll have a variety of opportunities as far as things that the leader may want you to do. If they assign you someone to work with, that person may have you do some things. You're going to have an activities log that you can take and review in this particular folder under course content to see the expectations. And we have the 40 hours on site. It used to be a lot longer, but because of the amount of roles going remote, which is lovely for those that want to work from home, that's a great thing, but it's hard for us when we have to make sure these students have a well-rounded experience in the health information field. And we've talked about how, it's not just about coding. It's not just about release of information. It's not just about HIM document analysis. It is there's a ton of jobs out there that have a health information management focus. And when you go to look for a role out there, you may find yourself in an area you never even imagined, and you end up loving it, and it's wonderful. And you're like, why did I not know about this in school? Well, as I speak, there are roles that are being created because of the needs that are presenting themselves out there in the actual health information field. Revenue cycle has changed. The payer process has changed. We have roles that we can have in an attorney's office or with a payer's office. And it's not just about the hospital or medical practice setting. There's a variety of environments we can work in. And so that being said, this 40-hour placement is just a small drop in the bucket of what you could possibly have as an experience. So I'm going to go on to talk about reviewing your site placement. You have in that PPE Documents Guide and Documents folder under Course Content in this course, the PDF file of your placement. It's got the date, it's got the leader for that site, it's got their email address. So it not only has yours, but it has the others in your course with you, the other students. And so I would save this document. You never know. It's always a great growth opportunity for your networking possibilities, because you can bypass HR when you initially when you have somebody on site in that department that you might want to work with. So just a little FYI there. Also, you're going to have an example of a Word document, the letter of introduction, that you're going to create for your site leader. And so make sure that you look at the course schedule and plan of instruction to understand what is actually due this first week. One of them is the actual letter of introduction. And also check on your passwords for EHRGO and the AHIMA Virtual Lab. You may not have, you needed to purchase another EHRGO. The last one you had would have been in the fall of 2018. And so you would need to purchase another EHRGO, and for you, just make sure it's the one that's 12 weeks. Don't buy the 16 weeks since this is a 10-week semester. And then your AHIMA Virtual Lab should still be in effect. If it's not, please contact me, let me know, and I can check on that for you. So attendance, reporting to the PPE site, your contacts, that's very important to note this information. The good news is with our phones now, we can pull up Blackboard on our phones and our smartphones and look at this information without having to really do a whole lot of extra with that. So that's really nice. Making up time. If you don't get your 40 hours in, You will have to make that time up or you will not be successful in this class. Dress code, typically it's business casual and no jeans at all. All tattoos need to be covered. Closed-toed shoes, those kind of things. Your hair color needs to be of a normal range of hair color. I had a student have pink hair during a PPE in the most recent past, and that was not appreciated by not only the site leader but also other members of that team. They felt it was very unprofessional. So that being said, colors that are normal hair colors in auburns, browns, blondes, black, those kind of colors, not purples and pinks and blues. Those are not normal hair colors for human beings. For beautiful peacocks, yes, but not for human beings. So your professional behavior, obviously you're in an office, typically an office environment. Making sure that you abide by the rules, pay attention to those around you and how they are behaving. Always remember you're basically on display of whether or not you'd be a good fit for that team. Even if that team's not a good fit, you might be referred by them to somebody else in another organization because you are so wonderful. So keep that in mind. And of course you've got my contact info if you need anything from me. Talked about this already. Review the syllabus, the course schedule and plan of instruction, knowing your due dates. Other assignments should be completed during your week. There are assignments that are going to be due. Work ahead if possible. I'm going to go ahead and after this week open up the rest of the semester for you. Communicate if you're having difficulty completing assignments. I don't want anybody to not do well. I'm always making sure that if you need something, I'm here for you. You've got to let me know. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And the next bullet, wear your badges. The site usually creates badges through their public safety onboarding process, and that should not be an issue. So, all right, we talked about this already. Complete your PPE introduction letter. Submit it into the Blackboard assignment link under Lesson 1, and I'll grade it quickly. And then once I grade it, once you see it's graded, go ahead and email it to your site leader, and then copy me on that email. That way they know it's a legitimate request for a PPE site placement. And also your documents, once you've completed your PPE, you need to turn those assignments, the documents in 1 week post PPE ending. Student evaluation, activity log, workbook questions, and discussion questions. So the majority of these are under your PPE guide and documents folder. The student evaluation is going to be the evaluation of the site. There will be it's not in there right now, but there will be a SurveyMonkey link that you'll take the survey about the site. I will also have one that I will make sure gets to that site leader so they can actually evaluate your performance during your PPE. There is the activity log, which will have to have the verification signatures. At the last, it's like a and you'll see this, it's like a table, and you put in what was done, how long it took to do it, and it doesn't have to be 15 minutes, 25 minutes. It can be, you can put down something like rounded on the facility with staff, prepped documentation, went to a court case, put like the comma, blah, 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 comma, blah, blah, what you've done, and then put, you can put down 8 to 5 or 8 to 4:30 or whatever you're working that particular day, and then have it, the signatures of the initials of the leader for that site. Or the person they've assigned you to would be as satisfactory as well. So, and then that needs to be scanned and turned in as well within a week or after, no more than a week after your PPE ended. There are workbook questions you'll need to answer. and there's going to be a discussion question about your experience on that site. So just make sure that you keep these in mind, that that's an expectation post PPE. Areas, keeping in mind, if normally most sites have an idea of what they know they're going to have you experience, but if you end up sitting there without something to do, you need to ask about doing something. Do not, if they haven't got you assigned to somebody to work with something or some process or just shadowing somebody, you need to say, I would love to help somebody do something. Where can I be useful? Put yourself out there. Number one, it looks really good for you. Number two, you need that because otherwise you're not going to fill your 40 hours up. So, but think a bit about these particular areas. Release of information, extremely important. Statistics, there may be some sort of a report that the leader or their assigned person that they've got you with is working on. Coding and indexing, anything with administration, privacy, security, chart processing, incomplete record process, abstracting, vital statistics, patient registration, trauma registry. These are some areas that your facility may or may not have, but if they do and there's a gap in time, that's someplace you could be at least shadowing for some time that will fill that gap. Other areas, case management, utilization review. And case managers are typically very sweet people, and they love to help you understand what the process is. Also, you've got your process improvement, which usually reside in the administration offices, that they are the process improvement, maybe directors or supervisors and so on. Quality assurance, risk management, credentialing, the physician services, charge master management, revenue integrity, and any other areas that are specific to your site. I know that some of the more like behavioral health sites have a more of a chance of actually going to the courthouse for cases, and that may be something that you get to do. Very interesting to be a part of that. And these are just some ideas, but at least keep these in mind. If you're stuck, you're like, okay, there's an hour gap here, there's 4-hour gap here. There shouldn't be any gaps, but if there are, here's some areas that you can take and either shadow with or work with, something of that nature to help you with your time. You want to make it worth every minute. So we talked about the activities log. The workbook are their actual questions. Similar to the questions we had, there's more of them for this particular course, but similar to the questions we had for 163 when we went on the actual tours. Summary of clinical, what your actual, the highs, the lows, what you liked, and so on, discussion question in Blackboard, and the evaluation of clinical site, which is a survey that is that I'll have for you. I'll have the link for you. And also, like I mentioned, the site will have a SurveyMonkey link sent for them to evaluate your performance. And you can actually help them complete this if you need to by reminding them on Thursday or Friday of your particular week. And I'll remind them. I do that a lot, so that's not something I require of you. I will actually remind them of the survey. Remember, this is a possible week-long interview. I have had quite a few students, even in my short time thus far with the college, in these 2 years, I've had leaders call me back and go, what do you think of this particular student? They, just graduated in August of 2018, and what do you think of this student? So remember, they're asking about you out there. They're thinking about you for a possible position. So it's always good to pretend like this is a week-long interview for that site. Dress like the boss or a boss. Try to, the staff that are there that come in and they're a little more casual, they've already got a job. They're already in the field. They know what is accepted and what's not accepted as far as what they are doing. Don't dress like them. Dress like what the leader is doing on that site. Be mindful. This is like a job interview. I know you're going to bring your cell phone in. Keep it on vibrate or turn it off. Leave it in your purse. They typically give you some place to lock your stuff up, but please do not be on your phone unless it's your break or it's your lunch. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I mentioned this earlier, actively look for things to do and to help with. If you have a gap of time, ask what you can do to help. Offer to help. You know, reaching out and trying to be proactive it makes you look so good, and it makes you, they'll remember you better by you doing that. And like we talked about, if you miss any time for whatever reason, you're going to have to make it up. And so we're going to figure that out. So communicate with me if you actually have to miss time. Remember, you're representing the college. You're representing the profession. And, you know, professional behavior, that's what keeps the sites hiring our graduates. I don't want to hear anything about purple hair. I don't want to hear anything about somebody, you know, showing up with somebody else. Oh, I thought it'd be okay if I brought my sister or my niece with me, or my brother. No, you know, be professional. Think about what it would be if you were actually in a regular role with that particular site. And this is something I cannot stress enough. HIM is a small, small world. People remember, I have a lot of friends in multiple states because how small HIM is as far as who does what and how they behave. And the people remember how you act and how you react. So be very professional, and you will go a long way in this field. And it will be a very positive experience for you. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Have a great semester, and thank you.